Sup everyone, welcome back to my channel on this chilly January day, at least depending on where you are in the world. Chances are if you're in the Great White North you're all bundled up in multiple layers as the mercury dips well below zero, but me being a rebel I don't need to wear anything, my engine is what keeps me warm. If you are watching this after a live stream that may sound awkward. Anyways, we actually got some more Battle Arena coming along today. And no, it's not a hacker pool video as I promised in the last one, rather I'm doing something I haven't covered in a video before and frankly I'm almost a year late to the party, lol. Surprise surprise, it's the Monkey Bank, which got a significant buff a super long time ago where the price was decreased and it also started giving extra eco per round. But people didn't pick up on the fact that the bank was OP until months after that change. And well, now it appears to be the staple go-to choice in the mid-game for a lot of really good players. That doesn't include me, cause I'm no longer named really good player or impersonating Dildo Bike. Instead we got a ring in the new year with an updated BTD in current year. I would add the lol to the end, but unfortunately it's one character too long for Ninja Kiwi's username length limit. And I'd rather not ask an employee to manually change it cause I'm sure they would not be very fond of my name choice. Anyways, let's talk the Monkey Bank. A lot of people who try hard this game will probably brush off a lot of the things I say here in this video because they know all the information already, so I guess I'll just point out now that I intend to make this video for players who are not quite as experienced, you know, by explaining things in really simple terms so you can absorb the information better. With that said, let's analyze why people decide to build banks instead of factories as their first big banana farm purchase now. Well, the immensely magnanimous changes to the bank denotes players are less fastidious because factories require a lot more equanimity in order to manage their mitochondria. In other words, banks give more money in the long run than factories. In more words, banks are cheaper. Just look at this first game right now, where I'm able to afford a Monkey Bank by the end of round 14 by selling my 4 plantations on the field. That's partially due to the fact that my opponent wasn't really pressuring me. I was able to get away with just a Juggernaut and a couple of other triple darts on the map for those dangerous rounds. That's Ceramic Crucible for you. Again, I always have terrible timing when it comes to recording these quote-unquote educational videos. I somehow always choose a day where there is no Moab Pit, BFB, or Boss Arena. I'm just too lazy to delay it another day to be honest, so unfortunately you will have to deal with some slightly weaker opponents but not to worry, I'll try to explain what happens if an OP player was on the other side. Anyways, I digress. No way would I have been even close to affording a factory on round 14 in that case. I did the math and based on what I had on the field I'd still be $5,000 to $6,000 short of affording the factory, even more than that to unlock the full power of the factory cause you also have to shell an extra $4,000 for those valuable crates. One thing I've noticed and something you may have noticed when I got up the bank was that I didn't purchase the $1,500 left side upgrade, so I only left it sitting upgraded at 1 for the entire time. The reason for that is because apparently the extra money you spend on that upgrade isn't worth it in the long run, or rather you get roughly the same amount of money from the bank with or without the upgrade. I didn't do the math on this, so I can't confirm but all the pro players are doing that so I'm going to have to assume they know their shit. If somebody knows the exact numbers then feel free to shout it out in the comments. So yeah, so far we've established that in general, the best banana farm strategy come mid-game is when you have 4 plantations in 110 farm. Sell the 4 plantations for a Monkey Bank as long as you are confident you can survive with your current defense. You don't want to go full-on greedy and the moment you get your bank the opponent rushes you. Make sure you have enough extra funds to defend cause if you sell the bank immediately it'll put you in a very sticky situation. This is the case to get the most bang for your buck in a majority of situations, although there are exceptions I have to point out. One would be if the map has a lack of farm space. On Battle River 5 farm spots is perfectly fine to execute the normal farm strategy, but on shit like Snowy Castle I'm not too sure. It's probably better to do the SJB Republic spam and build towards a factory instead. Not that many games will really get to that point on a map like that. On that note, perhaps you'll also find yourself in a game that does not go as planned and you'll have to skip the bank farm, like say it's a game of back and forth rushing and both of you are drained on farms and it's already past round 20. In that case, it may be better to skip the bank and jump to a factory, because the bank loses a lot of its effectiveness if you get it up that late. The key perk you get from building the bank is that juicy plus 80 eco, and since the mid-teen rounds fly by relatively fast compared to the 20s, the plus 80 boost means so much more when you get it early in the game. Anyways, Game 1 is going to end with that guy dying to my constant ZOMG rush, all thanks to those 5 fully upgraded factories. Note that I sold my bank to make room for my final factory, because the Fort to farm does still give out more money per round than the bank, extra eco considered. Even if I was on a map that had enough map space, generally it's a good idea to sell your bank once you cash it out twice or more, because by that point it's more valuable to use the extra money from selling the bank to build factories. As I said earlier, the value of that plus 80 eco diminishes over time, plus you may not have enough time left in the game to wait around to cash out your bank again. Speaking of cashing out, when's a good time to collect your bank balance? As tempting as it is to press that juicy button as many times as you could, pressing that button should be your absolute last-ditch resort until you have at least $15,000 stored. Cause interest rates, baby. The more money you have in your bank account at the end of the round, the more money you gain. Plain and simple. Generally it takes somewhere around 6 rounds to accumulate that cash out threshold, so average it out and it's somewhere between $2,500 to $3,000 per round, which is a fair bit less than a Fort 2 factory, but again you have to remember the price differences. And don't forget the 80 eco, which is pretty much the difference maker. 80 eco is essentially $2,000 worth of balloon cents per round, so when you think about it that way it's pretty easy to see why the bank is so popular now. With that said, the banana farm meta appears to go right back to normal after that first bank, aka that one bank is the first and last bank you'll end up getting in the game. It becomes a game of banana facility spam right after that. Generally the idea is you use that first 15k plus cash out from the bank to build your first Fort 2 factory, but some may bring up the question that why not use that money to build even more banks since they're more cost effective. Now I'm not in a position to answer that question with certainty, but what I will say is it probably ties back to what I said earlier about the extra eco not being as useful as the game progresses, cause we all know it's eventually going to drop to 0 once both players start ZOMG rushing each other. Maybe some OP players listening in on this right now can answer that. I probably should have done some more research before opening my mouth on this commentary, but oh well, I didn't plan for this to be such a jam-packed information video. As you see from the title, the plan was just to explain why banks are cool, and I'm pretty sure I did just that plus some more. Maybe a little summary right now should help. Before I say anything else though, how about this current match? Actually not too bad of a comparison of Factory First versus Monkey Bank First. Now I kind of fucked up earlier and tried to build my bank before round 14 hit, but unfortunately I was a second or two too slow. That actually brings up a good point. The best time to sell all your farms to build a bank is at the very tail end of any round. That way, you get almost the full round's worth of bananas from your plantations before selling them, and you get a plus 80 eco boost almost immediately once the round starts. Pro tip. But yeah, this opponent here definitely went super greedy in the early game, but only just got his factory on round 18, although if we were to replace this player with a much better one, then I reckon they could probably get one by round 16. Since this guy kind of over-defended at some points of the mid-game, I never intended on rushing him since after all, The goal is to show you guys some dank banana bank mechanics. I think I covered as much as I could about the bank, so here's a summary for why the bank is life. 1. It's cheaper than a factory, so in a sense it's more safe/less risky to sell all your farms to build it. 2. It's also more cost efficient than a factory once you take the extra eco boost into account, so that extra money you get can snowball into a bigger and bigger advantage. 3. Well, I don't think there is a 3. Those 2 is basically all there is to it. Hell, I could even just shorten it down to 1 reason. It gives more money. The banana farm, guys, it's about as one-dimensional a tower as you can get in this game. Its sole purpose is to give you mad money, unless you also want to count heart-shaped monkey farmers spamming as another reason. You could definitely make an argument for that. Anyways, this colossal farm lead means I can just ZOMG rush this guy to death and he can't do a single thing about it, so same fate as the last guy, and on the same map to boot. Well, I hope you learned something if you were a scrub at the game and wanted to improve, or if you're better than me then perhaps you could analyze this video word by word and leave some harsh critique on how I gave incorrect information on a certain part. I sure hope I didn't. Most of this information I'm vomiting out in this video came from watching good players play. So yeah, likes appreciated and all that. See you in the next one.